Hello chess crowd and welcome to another video, this time with great players here. Aryan Tari, the second player from Norway, and Daniil Dubov, a giant Russian player, very young and talented players here over the chessboard playing at the European Club Cup 2021. Let's take a look at this amazing game. Aryan Tari starts with pawn to e4, now e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop to b5. Aryan Tari goes for the Rui Lopez opening, and Daniil Dubov replies with a6, attacking the bishop. Bishop a4, knight f6, cancelling, and now bishop to c5 was the move played by Daniil Dubov. c3, and now b5 attacking the bishop, bishop to c2, and d5 attacking the center, and now d4, and we have this very interesting position with this very with many tension here in the center. The game continued with d takes e4, so very interesting idea from Dubov. And now he's not protecting the bishop but now attacking the knight. Knight takes e5 was played, knight takes e5, and now Aryan Tari can choose which piece to capture. Now he chooses to capture the bishop and he will have the bishop pair, so d takes e5 was played, and now it's possible to trade queens, but Daniil Dubov prefers to develop the bishop instead. Now bishop to b7 was played, and now bishop g5 attacking the knight, and h6 we have bishop takes f6, queen takes f6, and now it's very tough to find a move here for Aryan Tari because there are many pieces already attacking here on the king side, so we already have an amazing position here. It's very dangerous to play any move here. Aryan Tari could have played, he played rook to e1, he could also have played queen e2, and after, for example, castling and knight to d2, he would need to be very careful here, but white can manage to equalize the position. I mean, after knight f3 check, this would be a very frightening attack here from Daniil Dubov, but white can simply go king to h1 and it will be safe. For example, after knight takes d2 and queen takes d2, and it's a safe position, although still black has more space, a very strong bishop here and an advanced pawn. Still easier to play as black, but white can hold. Okay, but it would be very interesting to see what would happen if the pawn would capture the knight. Then black would be winning with queen g5 check, and after king h1, pawn takes f3, and now the queen is attacked. I mean, after knight takes f3, queen to f4, now putting a lot of pressure here. How do you defend it? White would have to play bishop to d1, but after rook from f to e8, there is no way to keep guarding the knight. I mean, queen d3 is still possible, but after rook from a to d8, the queen can no longer protect the knight, and this would be a completely winning position for white here. But as we said, after queen e2, white can hold. It's not. It's just not capturing the knight. Okay, but the game continued with rook to e1, now putting pressure here on the pawn, and rook to d8, now winning a tempo over the queen. Queen e2, and now castling. Knight d2 was played, and now knight d3 from Daniil Dubov. Bishop takes knight. Pawn takes bishop, now the queen is attacked, so queen e3 was played, and rook from f to e8, already attacking here the queen, and black has this very interesting and strong passed pawn here. Aryan Tari starts to have problems in the position. And now what can you do here? I mean, if you play a move like queen to g3, rook e2 is coming, and black is really strong here, attacking all the king side and also on the queen side. So here Aryan Tari decides to exchange the queen for two rooks. Now we have queen takes e8, rook takes e8, rook takes e8, and king to h7 into safety. And we have this very tough position here for Aryan Tari because of this passed pawn from Daniil Dubov. Let's see how it goes. Rook e3 now attacking already the pawn, and now queen to g5, and now not only pinning the rook. I mean, if the rook moves and knight will be captured, but this is actually threatening checkmate immediately here on g2. So something needs to be done. Knight f3 was played, now blocking here the attack over g2, and now the exchange is possible. So bishop takes f3, rook takes f3, and now queen d2. Daniil Dubov has a very strong position here. Now he's attacking many pawns here on the queen side, and he will have this very dangerous passed pawn. So rook takes f7 was played, and now c6. Another possible idea here would just play queen takes b2 here, attacking the rook, and after rook to d1, for example, queen c2, defending the pawn and attacking the rook, and after rook to f1, black could play d2 here, and after rook to d7, then play c6 would be another very interesting choice with a strong position for Daniil Dubov. He chooses to play c6 here instead. The game continues with rook to d7, now a5, advancing with the pawns on the queen side, h4, now a4, and h5. So maybe white is threatening to, maybe he can manage to put two rooks here on the 7th, and this pawn would be very strong now, not allowing the king to escape. But yes, this is very this is not realistic, because it's how can white put the two rooks here on the 7th rank? Well, it's not clear. So the game continued with queen to c2, now rook to d6, and d2 advancing the pawn. Now the rook cannot capture the pawn on c6, because otherwise the pawn would be promoting. So rook to f1 was played, now queen takes b2, rook takes c6, queen takes a2, rook to d6, and now queen c2. So now Daniil Dubov has another passed pawn here in this position. Very amazing game. Now c6, Aryan Tari advances with his passed pawn. Queen takes c3, now trying to stop the pawn. Rook to d1, and now a3 advancing with another passed pawn. Rook from 6 takes d2, and now queen takes c6. Rook d6 attacking the queen, queen c2. Rook from 6 to d2 attacking the queen again, and now queen a4, and now rook a1. And Daniil Dubov now has those connected passed pawns, which are very dangerous. He continues with b4. Now the queen no longer needs to be protecting the pawn on a3. Rook from d to a2, now avoiding b3 move. Now the rook would be capturing the pawn on a3. So now what to do here? Daniil Dubov now brings the king to the game. So king to g8, g3, king h7, king h2. And now king here to f6 was played. Now f4, queen d7, and now because the pawn here is already guarding the pawn on a3, the queen goes to the game, rook e2, and now queen to d6. Now preparing to push b3, and the queen will be guarding here the pawn on a3. Very dangerous position. King to a3 was played, b3 immediately, rook to e3, attacking both pawns. But then what to do? a2, a very strong move here from Daniil Dubov. I mean, the rook cannot capture here the pawn because of this check here, and a double attack here, capturing the rook and winning the game immediately. So f5 was played. Now it's really a threat to capture. There's not that check on e6 anymore, but simply after b2 here from Daniil Dubov. In this position, Aryan Tari resigns the game. A very beautiful victory here from Daniil Dubov. What was that? What was that? A really amazing game from Daniil Dubov. I mean, he gave Aryan Tari no chance. He gave Aryan Tari no chance in this game. Aryan Tari could have tried that queen e2 move instead of rook e1 that we showed in the beginning of the game, but it's really tough. It's really tough to find. Daniil Dubov really puts a lot of pressure. It's really hard to play against Daniil Dubov. And here we have the report from chess.com report for the stats. And yes, Daniil Dubov was really high, huge accuracy here, 99.1% against 86.3. So much more precise here, Daniil Dubov against Aryan Tari. Aryan Tari was never better than Daniil Dubov in the game, so always worse. And after that rook e1, well, how can you say that this was a wrong move and queen e2 was needed to be played instead? So this is very tough to find when you are playing over the chessboard, and we have this beautiful victory here from Daniil Dubov. And I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for your audience, and see you next video.